A coworker doesn't reply to your message. Within about 30 seconds, your brain has written an entire drama. They're annoyed with you. You said something wrong. Maybe the whole team is against you. Be honest, we've all done it. Especially on a stressful week, the mind loves to build elaborate horror stories. But there's a simple thinking tool that cuts through the tangle. Not by being cynical, but by starting with the simplest explanation first. It's called Occam's razor, named after a medieval friar, William of Ockham. And it's one of the fastest ways to stop overthinking and see clearly. Here's the idea. When you got several possible explanations for something, the one that needs the fewest assumptions is usually the best place to start. Not always right, we'll get to that, but usually the smartest first guess. Every extra, and then this, and also that, you have to assume makes the story less likely. So when your coworker goes quiet, they're busy or forgot, needs one assumption. They're secretly building a case against me, needs about 10. Occam's razor says, lead with a one assumption story. One caveat though, the simplest explanation isn't automatically true. Reality is sometimes complicated, so the razor isn't the simple answer wins. It starts simple, then test. Begin with the least complicated explanation and only add complexity if the evidence actually forces you to. Let me make it real. The person schedules a meeting and a colleague just doesn't show. Immediately, the mind machine fires up. They're blowing me off. They don't respect my time. Is this political? Are they trying to make me look bad? Each gear is an assumption stacked on the last. By the end, the person has constructed an entire workplace conspiracy from a single empty chair, and they feel genuinely awful for no confirmed reason. Then they remember the razor. What's the simplest explanation? Probably they forgot, or a calendar glitch, or they're slammed and double booked. One assumption, no villain required. And here's the aha. A minute later, the colleague messages, so sorry, my calendar didn't sync, can we reschedule? Exactly the simple explanation. All that stress was self-generated, built from assumptions the situation never required. The razor would have saved the whole spiral. So how do you use this at work? Reach for the boring explanation before the dramatic one. Scenario 1. Troubleshooting. Something breaks, a report's wrong, a process failed. The mind jumps to big, complex causes. Occam's razor says check the simple stuff first, a typo, a misstep, stale data. The simplest plausible cause is usually where the problem actually lives, and it's the cheapest to check. Scenario 2. Reading colleagues. When someone drops the ball or sends a curt message, the dramatic read, they're difficult, they're against me, is tempting. Start simpler. They're busy, stressed, or there was a miscommunication. Then test it with a quick question instead of acting on the conspiracy. Most friction is distraction, not malice. Now the personal side, because we aim the conspiracy machine at the people we love to. Scenario 1. The charitable read. A friend's reply is short. A partner seems off. Before assuming you did something wrong, try the simplest explanation. They're tired, busy, or having a rough day. Usually nothing to do with you. Leading with a simple, kind interpretation saves you hours of invented hurt. Scenario 2. Your own spirals. When you catch yourself building a tall, scary story about why something happened, pause and ask, what's the least complicated explanation here? And then hold it lightly and check it, rather than living inside the worst case version. Start simple, then test in your own head too. So here's the whole thing in one sentence. When your brain spins up 10 complicated explanations, the simplest one usually deserves the first look. So start simple, then test, instead of assuming the worst. Here's your one move this week. Catch yourself mid-spiral about one situation and write down the simplest possible explanation before the dramatic one. Then go check it. And tell me in the comments, what's the story your brain overbuilt that turned out to be something simple? Subscribe for a new mental bundle every week, and I'll see you in the next one.